is like one of my favorite videos to film. I am so freaking excited to do this video today, and also cannot believe that we are at the end of the year here. We're here today so that I can tell you my top 10 books of 2022. And also I'm gonna have some honorable mentions, some books that I will just super rapid fire. I'm gonna go from 10 to number 1, and in between 1 and 2, I am going to give you my honorable mentions, ones that were on the list when I was putting this together, but just didn't make that final cut at 10. I already know this is gonna be a long video, so no more rambling, let's jump right on in. Okay, so at number 10, clocking in at number 10 here is Mercy by Sarah Kate. So this is the last book in the Salacious Players Club series, and this one follows Bo and Maggie. So this one is a reverse age gap, dom, sub, dad's best friend romance. So Maggie works with Bo's father, Emerson, at the Salacious Players Club, and she is at a point in her life right now where she's kind of doing things because she thinks they're like supposed to be the steps that she's supposed to be doing now that she's like reached a certain age, but it's not necessarily like what she wants to, and she's kind of like just wondering what her purpose is. You know, she has this business, she's very successful, she's kind of like starting to overcome some of like the shame that she had around her sexuality that she kind of grew up in and was like taught to kind of like shame. And she ends up meeting Bo, and Bo is like 22, 23, and he is just very angry, just like everything. He's kind of lost direction. He's mad at his father for stealing his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend, and they're getting married and such. And Bo is just, again, really lacking direction, and him and Maggie end up meeting and matching up on the Salacious app and realizing that they have some common interests, and they enter into a dom-sub relationship together. And when I tell you this book it blew me away. It is by far my favorite book in the Salacious Players Club series. I was obsessed with this book from start to finish. I loved everything about Maggie and Bo's connection. I felt like it was so organic. I got both of their character progressions, but then also their like relationship development, the trust that these two had between each other. I have read other reverse age gaps before, and I thought like maybe it's just not for me, but this one changed my mind, and I'm like, maybe this is a trope for me, and I need to find more reverse age gaps, because I absolutely loved the older woman, younger man dynamic in here. And also Maggie is the dom and Bo is the sub, which again I didn't think I would like, but I loved. This book was just incredible. No stupid third act breakup like some of the other books in the Salacious Players Club. So just this was all around a knockout, and I want to reread it so badly already. So this was my number 10 on my list. Then coming in at number 9, this is kind of cheating a little bit, but you know what? Everyone always talks about these collectively, and it literally comes in a bind up like this. So the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. So this one is 5 novellas. So yeah, this looks like intimidating, but it's actually 5 books compiled into one, and they're all like novella length. So this one follows Lana Myers. So Lana is a serial killer, and she has a list of people that she is hunting down and she is getting her revenge on. And right at the beginning of the first book, she just literally happens to meet this one guy at a coffee shop, and they kind of like have a little like connection. And it turns out that Logan, the guy that she meets, is actually an FBI agent, and he is a profiler, and he is trying to catch Lana. Lana is aware that Logan is the one that's hunting for her, but Logan isn't aware that the serial killer that he is chasing is also the one that he is now starting to date. It is incredible. Okay, the thing that I love most about this, it's not even necessarily the romance. Like, yes, I liked Lana and Logan, but truly the best part about this book to me is Lana Myers. She is one of my favorite heroines I've ever read in my entire life. The things that she went through are so dark and very heavy and traumatic, so definitely check trigger warnings. Even though it's serial killer, I don't necessarily think it's like gory, so if you don't like gore, I do think that this is like light on that, or at least to me personally, like it's definitely not as gory as other ones that I've read. And you know what? Yes, she's killing people, but she has her reasons, okay? And you know what? I support women's wrongs. So Lana, you're amazing. I love you. This is just incredible. And also each of these ends on a little cliffhanger, so it definitely keeps you like jumping from one into the next. It's so super addicting, and just Lana is such a badass. I can't get over it. I forgot I have my coffee sitting here. Made myself a little peppermint mocha. Okay, at number 8. I can't really say too much plot-wise about this one, which is kind of frustrating because I've talked about it quite a bit this year, and every single time I'm like, I can't really say anything plot-wise, but I can't, and that is Hunting Adeline by H.G. Carlton. So this is the second book in the cat and mouse duet. You do have to read Haunting Adeline before you read Hunting Adeline. This one picks up immediately where the first one left off, on that huge cliffhanger. That cliffhanger was brutal to wait for, but this book was well worth the wait. Again, an insanely dark book. This is the darkest book that I have. yeah, one of the darkest books that I have on this list. Definitely check your triggers before going into this one. Premise of the cat and mouse duet is Adeline, her grandmother passes away and she inherits her manor out in like the middle of the woods kind of. And so it's just kind of like a spooky setting. And when she's out there, she starts noticing that there is this person watching her through her windows, and she's kind of like, who is this dude? And that happens to be Zaid, and he's stalking Adeline. You know, she tries to make him go away by bringing other men over. He's not deterred. She gets a security system. He owns the security system company so he can bypass right past it. Like, Zaid does not give up. And I love that about him. And so the first book is all about like their dynamic and like their relationship. In the second book, so Zaid is involved in some dark web stuff. He's like the good guy. He's like taking people down. But some of that work comes into play in their lives, and especially with Adeline. So I don't want to say anything more to give anything away, but this book is so dark. But Adeline, again, she's just such a badass heroine. I loved her. Getting, once again, her revenge later on, her and Zaid like healing together. It was beautiful. Absolutely loved this. Amazing. Next up, we have another dark, I mean, are we surprised that I have so many dark romances? We have Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. So this one is a historical pirate dark romance, kind of love triangle-y, you'll see. So this one follows Bennett, and her mother is kind of like priming her to be a society lady. It's like back in like the 1700s or something. She arranges a marriage for Bennett, and Bennett is like, no, I want to go be a pirate like my dad is. And she basically runs off and becomes a pirate. And then, so this was like, at the beginning of the book, I think she's like 14 years old. And then we jump ahead after we know that she's like now a pirate. And she's like in her early 20s, and she has this compass from her father that she's trying to like locate something that he may have left for her, but some little bumps come in her path in the form of Priest, who is her, you know, I don't even know, does it say who Priest is to her? I don't think so. Okay, Priest is a fellow pirate, I'll leave it at that. And then Ashley, Lord Ashley Cutler, and he is a pirate hunter, and he ends up kidnapping Bennett to take her back to the gallows. Yeah, it's their romance and their adventure, and this was so freaking addicting. This was my first ever historical romance, and it was incredible. I think because it was like piratey, it felt more like fantasy or like fantastical than like historical. I don't know. I loved Bennett and Priest's relationship. I loved Bennett and Ashley's relationship. I loved like everything all around with that. I've had a string here of like Lana Myers and then Adeline and then Bennett of just 3 women that I'm just like, y'all can get it. They're incredible. So again, another very strong heroine and a very fun book. So also, I don't know if you can see at the bottom of my shirt, it says Taboo Romance. It's like one of those tarot cards. Jess sent it to me for Christmas. I'm obsessed. And also just look at the skull. It's like a little skull lady. I love skulls. Anyways, but I realized like when I'm wearing this, you can't really tell what the bottom is. At number 6 is one of the first books that I read this past year. And that is The Words by A. Jade. So Ashley Jade. Okay, so this one is a rock star, second chance, forced proximity, friends to enemies to lovers, plus size heroine, bad boy hero, broken boy hero, all of the amazing tropes wrapped up into one good package here. Lennon and Phoenix, so this book starts when they are in high school, and Lennon is bullied heavily. She's plus size, and kids just like are fucking assholes. But she's very strong in school, and Phoenix is not so strong in school, and he needs a tutor in order to graduate, so his teacher ends up setting up the two of them to like work together and kind of like have Lennon help Phoenix out. And Phoenix is very popular. He's like a bad boy. He's in a band, and he just really wants to like get out of his circumstances and make it big in music. And anyway, so they develop a friendship, but then something happens. There's a betrayal, and then we jump ahead into present day where we are now, where Phoenix has made it. Like his band is huge, but there has been an accident and some things have happened, and he literally can't keep a sober companion or like babysitter for the life of him because he ends up seducing them all. And his record company, his management are like done with him. They're like, we are on our final straw with this dude. So they're like, who can we bring in that he can like, that won't be seduced to his charms? One of the band guys is like, I think I know just the person, and that's Lennon. And she is bartending, and she just had a place in her life where she does need the extra money. So she reluctantly agrees to go on the road and be his babysitter. And it is their second chance romance. This, I mean, it's thick, so I know it's scary, it's intimidating, but truly, like, this book needed the length that it did. They go through so many highs and lows individually, together. Both characters have highs and lows, because I love when, like, the heroine also not like that I love seeing people go through pain, but, like, I do love when the heroines are also put through the ringers just as much as the heroes are in stories like this, and they both are. I love the rock star element. It's hot there. It's just, like, I love Phoenix and London's relationship so much, and this is just such a beautiful book. Haven't stopped thinking about it since I read it, and I read it back in January this year. So it's been a long time that I've just been stewing on this one, but it's just incredible. We're already halfway through. I feel like I'm making good time. Go me. Okay, at number 5, we have my newest ad, because truly I thought that this list was set in stone. Like a couple of months ago, honestly, I was like, I don't really see anything that I'm going to read that's going to bump anything off of this list or really disrupt anything. And then I read Where the Mountains Meet the Sea by A.R. Breck. And this one said, excuse me, list, move aside. I'm getting on here. And it made its way to number 5 because that's just how much I freaking loved this book. I will preface, this is not a romance, so just know that going into it. I'm not going to give any spoilers, but, you know. So this one here, so this one follows Roman and Luna, and they are childhood best friends, 2 lovers, but Roman and Luna, so their families move in next door to each other on a lake in Wisconsin. Shout out Wisconsin. And it starts when they are like 6 and 7, so you see them at that age like forming a friendship, and then in like middle school being friends, and then in high school is when they finally start dating. So there is some time spent with them as kids, but that only lasts for part 1 of the book, and that is like about 160 pages that you see them over the course from like childhood to like 18, graduating high school. That's like the first 160 pages. And then the bulk of this book takes place when they are in their 20s. So when Roman and Luna are in high school, they have plans to go to New York together, but Roman really wants to he's in a band, he's a musician, he really wants to make it big, and his band ends up getting a record deal out in LA. So his dreams end up taking him out to California, and Luna is a dancer and she's always dreamed of going to Juilliard. Her dreams, you know, are taking her to New York, but Roman is a year older than her, so he graduates first, and he's like, I will come back for you after my year out in LA, and we will move out to New York City. And obviously things happen and they are taken apart. Both go on their own adventures. Roman is touring around being a musician, and Luna's life kind of took a bit of a 180 after he left, and she's traveling around doing her own thing, and they both go through a lot of separate hard experiences before they come back to each other. And it's so beautiful, it's so heartbreaking, it's just so, I felt everything in this book. I felt everything so deeply. A.R. Breck's writing made me hurt alongside of Luna. It made me hurt alongside of Roman. It frustrated me. It devastated me. It like warmed my heart at times. Like, they are just soulmates, and it was beautiful, and I loved it so much, and everyone should go. Well, not everyone. This book is not going to be for everyone, obviously, but loved it. Okay, so maybe now, that was like 3 minutes. I can see that I talked about that one singular book, and this one is also going to be long because this truly is a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece, and the fact that Senlin Yu can't make any money off of this because it's fan fiction, oh my god, the fact that this is not even a published piece of literature is just like such a crime, because this is a fan fiction and manacled by Senlin Yu. Obviously you can tell by holding it up here. So this is a Draco and Hermione fan fiction, and it is Harry Potter meets Handmaid's Tale. I mean, it's huge. It's huge. It's literally like over 1,000 pages, but also it's not like available. I got this bound by a bookbinder, but you cannot buy this like physically. Like, it's not available on like Amazon, Barnes & Noble, none of that, because it is a fan fiction, so you have to have it like bound by a bookbinder. So I luckily got a commission done. Thank you to my friend Amanda for helping me get that. Yeah, so I have this beautiful copy, but otherwise you can download it. It is on AO3, so you can read it on there, and if you need to know how to download it to your Kindle, you can DM me and I can show you how to do that. Here's the thing with this one, you do not need to know like Harry Potter lore in order to understand this. I've never read the Harry Potter books. I'm not like a huge fan of the movies. Like, I don't really care about Harry Potter, but I was convinced to read this because of my friends Amanda and Claudia, and I was like, fine, I'll finally give it a go, and I'm so glad that I did. This takes place like in what would be after the Order of the Phoenix, but like if Voldemort won and like everyone else lost. So at the start of this book, everyone is dead. Like everyone on the Order is dead. Like Harry Potter, Ron, like all these people are dead. And Hermione is one of the surviving prisoners from the Order. And she has been a prisoner by Voldemort and his people for so long that she has locked away memories in her brain that she cannot access and no one can get access to, not even Voldemort himself. So he sends her to become a handmaiden for Draco, and that way he can like make her his handmaiden like in Handmaid's Tales, but then also try to unlock those memories in her brain. So it's told in present and then a huge chunk of flashbacks and then back to the present. This is one of the most astounding things I've ever read in my entire life. Like, I don't know how to articulate how incredible this book is, how well the characters are developed, how well the world is built out, how devastating it is to read, how beautiful it is. Like, yes, it's huge, and at points I was like, does it need to be this long? But yes, it does, because truly this is like a war drama. Like, yes, obviously there is romance in this, but truly this is a war drama. I can't even, I don't even know what to say. I have no words for this, truly, to describe just like how absolutely insane this is. And the fact like that it's literally this big and I want to reread it right now, like, should tell you something. I don't know what else to say. It's incredible. Okay, at number 3, we have Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. I am obsessed with the Twisted series, as you guys know, but this specifically is my favorite book out of that whole series. Twisted Love was on my top 10 of 2021, but Twisted Hate is superior even to Twisted Love, as much as I loved it. So Twisted Hate, so this is the 3rd book, but you can read it as a standalone. It involves Josh and Jules. So it is enemies to lovers, enemies with benefits, hate to love, best friend's brother romance. So Jules is in law school planning to become a lawyer, and Josh is a doctor, and I think he's out of school, but he has always had a disdain for Jules, who is his little sister's best friend. And Jules has heard the bad things that Josh has had to say about her. So she's like, screw you. Who are you to like judge me? So they've just always hated each other. But then they are both under a lot of pressure. Josh at work and Jules with law school and also work and all these things going on in their lives. So they decide like, hey, we need a way to blow off steam, but we don't want a relationship. We don't want to have to deal with other people and like feelings getting involved. So they're like, let's arrange a little benefit situation between the two of us, but like no feelings, no like things outside the bedroom. It's like we're strictly just like hooking up. But you know that that doesn't last for very long, and their feelings turn real after a while. Obviously, that doesn't come without its complications. So anyways, I loved this book. Jules was just like so iconic. Like I really enjoyed her character a lot. She was a very, very strong woman. She knew what she wanted and she wasn't afraid to go after it and get it. And to kind of see certain things that happen in her life and that come back to haunt her a little bit were like hard to see, and kind of like see her struggle with that, because you know what a strong person she is. And then Josh as well. Josh, I did not expect some things out of you, sir, because I thought that you were like, I mean, I knew that you were kind of like an asshole, but I didn't know that you like had that side to you. But he does, and I was pleasantly surprised. So yes, loved Twisted Hate, 3rd favorite of the year. Okay, 2nd favorite. If you've been here since the beginning of the year, this should not surprise. Oh my god, I don't think I ever looked at the back of this book. That is so hot. Can you see that? Okay. Always Been You by QB Tyler. We knew this was coming. This has quite literally been my obsession this entire year, and since last year when it was originally a novella. So Always Been You. This one follows James and Gabrielle, and it is an adopted sibling, taboo, forbidden, age gap romance. Gabrielle is adopted when she is 2 by the Calloway family, and she is raised with their family, and James is her older adoptive brother. I think he's like 10 years older than her, and she is kind of always like, they've always had a close relationship. She's always kind of had like a little crush on him, or always like really looked up to him, and then when she was like a teenager, then she started like developing a crush on him. He ended up, obviously when he graduated, he went off to college, went off to work and whatever, kind of was like outside the family home. But now Gabrielle is off at college, and they're both living in the city away from their family, and you know, they are both attracted to each other, and they are sick of denying it between each other. So before they're getting ready to head home for Christmas, those feelings explode between each other, and It is delicious. This book is so hot, so forbidden, so taboo. Like, Kiwi Tyler's spice is just absolutely next level. People want to write stuff that's hot and they can't. She just does it amazingly. I loved the tabooness of their relationship, obviously. I loved like the emotional connection that they had as well, on top of like their physical connection, because obviously that was there, but also like their emotional connection. Some of the things that were added in here since the novella that like dived into Gabrielle's backstory a little bit and how James was really there for her was beautiful. Just my favorite QB Tyler book of all time. This is just so good, and I'm definitely feeling a reread very soon on this. Okay, honorable mentions. I'm gonna rapid fire because we don't need to like sit here and talk about all of these books, but I'm just going to rapid fire ones that didn't make the cut but were on the list when I went through and I was like breaking it down. Okay, so just missed the list. Falls Boys by Penelope Douglas, Sin and Discipline by Lily White, Hush Hush by Lucia Franco, Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings, Home Game by Odette Stone, Wanting Mr. Kane by Shnora Williams, the last two books in the Ravenhood trilogy, and lastly, I don't own this one yet, and that is Savage Lover by Sophie Lark, the third book in the Brutal Birthright series. So those are all the ones that just narrowly missed the list. I completely forgot to include Vibe by Liza James. That is 1000% another honorable mention. Absolutely loved. Bringing it in at number 1, Kiss the Sky by Kristen Becca Ritchie. I love this book. And also I'm gonna do like Addicted / Calloway Sisters series as well. Like, that as a whole is number 1, but I did not feel like pulling those 10 books, those 10 heavy books off my bookcase and dragging them in here, especially when Kiss the Sky is my favorite. So I'm like, I'm gonna highlight this one specifically, but that series as a whole is at number 1. I vlogged that earlier this year and I just fell in love with this universe and with these characters, and it was just incredible. So Kiss the Sky is Rose and Connor's book, and they are academic rivals, and Rose has, so obviously it's kind of hard to just like jump straight into this one because even though this is the first of the Calloway Sisters, it does coincide with the Addicted series. So you technically read this one 4th in the overall series order, but it is the first for the Calloway Sisters. So it is kind of difficult because you do see how things play out and kind of lead up into this book. So if the explanation just feels like I'm kind of plopping you into it, it's because you kind of are, and I would highly recommend reading it in order. But Rose is just an incredibly intelligent woman, and she has always kind of been at the top of her game, always kind of had everything under control and everything just like as it should be in her life and her way. But there have been some things that have happened, and her fashion line that she has is in trouble. So in order to kind of like revive that and revive her and her family's public image, she ends up signing up to do a reality TV show following herself and her sisters, and then also their partners. And at the same time, she has finally just kind of given in to Connor, who Connor is her academic rival, longtime rival. They have always been like the matching wits at every single thing and kind of always been in competition with each other. And Connor has always liked Rose, but Rose has always been very reluctant to ever give in to him. And they have like a very back and forth dynamic. But then in this book specifically, obviously since it's highlighting them, it really dives into them like really trying to give it a go, and Rose really trying to like open up to Connor, and also Connor open up to Rose, because Connor does not really like anyone. Like, he's a very charismatic guy, but he does like not care about anyone. Like, on the surface it might look like he's interested in someone, but he like inside he's like, I don't give a fuck about anyone except for Rose Calloway. And I'm like, sir. Anyways, it's them like doing this reality TV show and all the drama that comes with it in their relationship. And truly, this book, I don't know what it is about this book. Sometimes like books just have that intangible factor that just draw you in, that just have you hooked right from the beginning. And that was this book. Truly, I don't know a couple that is more of an even match for each other than Rose and Connor. They are truly equals in all ways, shapes, and forms. And I loved every little bit about their dynamic and the care that, and the love and respect, mostly the respect that these two had for each other, that even if sometimes they were having any issues, they truly always still respected one another for the strong, intelligent, powerful individuals that they are. I can't. It's so freaking good. So yeah, that is my number 1 book that I read this year, and one of my favorites like of all time, honestly, now. So anyways, that is my top 10 of 2022. I cannot believe that we are already at the end here, but I truly had such an incredible reading year this year. I found so many new favorites, but when I look, like, let me just scoot it over here. When I look at this stack here, truly so many of these books are like new favorite books, where like when I look at last year, like yes, I had a great top 10. I didn't have that many that I am like so passionate about or that I love so much and like want to reread, where truly wholeheartedly every 10 book on this list, every single book I want to reread right now. And like I truly consider like an all-time favorite. Like I had such an incredible reading year this year, and this is just like, you know, a little glimpse into that. That is it for today's video. I don't know, my upload schedule is a little wonky because I have a lot of videos to try to cram in, so I'm like pre-filming a lot because I have so many to go. So I don't know what's going to be up after this. I don't think this is going to be my last video of 2022. I think I'm probably still going to try to squeeze in a wrap up. But anyways, whenever you're seeing this video, I hope you're having a good end of year. Let me know what some of your favorites were of 2022. And yeah, that's it for today. And I will see you when I see ya.